2 News begins right now with breaking news.
Happening right now, a historic day for the state of Oklahoma as the first legal same-sex marriage is getting ready to take place right here on the Tulsa County Courthouse steps. You can see a big crowd has already gathered. The day began with the Supreme Court refusing to hear a case involving the state of Oklahoma. That has huge implications for our state. It also opened the door for the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals to lift the ban on same-sex marriage, happening right now at 5. The first Tulsa County same-sex couple getting married at the steps of the Capitol. It is beginning literally right now. I want to bring in 2 News anchor Max Resnick. He has reaction today from the couple that's getting married. And Max, they have been the face of gay marriage in Oklahoma for the last 10 years.
Yeah, really throughout the region as well, Russ. And of course, Mary Bishop and Sharon Baldwin, they are that couple, and they were the first to get their marriage license today. But I checked with the Oklahoma Supreme Court network within the last half hour. I can tell you that at least 15 other couples today filed for their licenses. I was just upstairs on the second floor, and I can tell you that there are just as many couples, so that number will be going up. We will also have new numbers for you probably later tonight and then again tomorrow morning, but we were there on the second floor today as Mary Bishop and Sharon Baldwin showed up to get their marriage license. Now their marriage coming after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear appeals from a number of states wanting to prohibit same-sex marriage. Following the High Court's decision, the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals lifted its stay, paving the way for gay couples to marry, but the path forward still has its obstacles.
The patchwork quilt of marriage laws that has existed across the United States for a long time will continue to exist. And we think that's really not good. I mean, if we cross the state lines into Missouri or Arkansas after this, our marriage still won't be recognized.
Now, immediately after Mary and Sharon filled out their paperwork, another gay couple who actually beat them to the courthouse filled out their own, saying they wanted Bishop and Baldwin to be the first to fill out theirs. Now, coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, Russ, we'll talk about their journey over the last 10 years, get their reaction, and how really this thing is just kind of settling in for them right now.
Yeah, as you can imagine. We certainly have reaction also on both sides of this issue. Governor Mary Fallin issued a statement earlier today blasting the federal courts for allowing gay marriage in Oklahoma. In a statement, she says, quote, "The will of the people has been overridden by unelected federal justices accountable to no one." She goes on to say that that it's both undemocratic and a violation of states' rights. You can read the governor's complete statement. It's on our website right now. Check it out at kjrh.com. Well, today's surprise move by the Supreme Court means that gay marriage is now legal in 30 states, as well as the District of Columbia. That said, no precedent was set today. States can still ban gay marriage, and lower courts can uphold those bans. So until there's a definitive national ruling, this issue is not 100% definitively set. Still today, it is a historic day. I talked with an attorney, Mike Redmond, about this issue, what's next, and what it means for the state of Oklahoma. When you look at this case, is it over with now, or can there still be other cases that make their way to the Supreme Court that could change things?
There can still be other cases going to the Supreme Court. As I've said, the fat lady has not sung yet. All the Supreme Court done is said, we're not making a decision at this time.
Still, this is a major step when it comes to gay marriage, not only in our state, but for a large part of the country.
Absolutely. We now have 30 states in the country that allow same-sex marriage.
Okay, so for now, gay couples can go down to the courthouse and they can file and they can get married. Do you see a day that will be repealed or be outlawed?
I certainly hope not, but there's a possibility it could happen. Another circuit court could rule that same-sex bans are constitutional, and that could go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court can then rule nationwide that the bans are proper.
Yeah, so when you heard that news today, what was your reaction?
I was delighted and I was disappointed at the same time. Very happy that we are able to get married in Oklahoma and within the 10th Circuit, but disappointed that it's not a nationwide application yet.
Well, another complete interview with Mike Redmond online right now at kjrh.com, and stay tuned for our continuing coverage and our later newscast. Hear from one state leader who is opposed to same-sex marriage. That coming up tonight on 2 News at 6. Breaking news right now from the Port of Catoosa. A truck loaded with bleach apparently lost its load. Several barrels flew onto the highway. A couple of them burst. This is happening at the intersection of 266 and 167. Basically, it's the main parkway which goes into the Port of Catoosa. There's only a small risk of inhalation, we're being told, and that's if you're in the immediate area. No evacuations are underway, but that intersection is closed right now. We'll have a live report from that scene coming up a little bit later on 2 News. We'll keep you posted on that. Meantime, an update now to breaking news we first brought you at midday. The manhunt for a suspected killer trailer is over. Tulsa police found Joshua Silkey's body just hours ago in a wooded area behind the church. The 24-year-old was wanted in the shooting death of a woman yesterday at a Papa John's pizza restaurant. 2 News working for you with team coverage tonight. We begin with reporter Will Dupree. He is live tonight near the scene where that body was found. Will?
Well, Russ, police say that Joshua Silvey shot and killed 20-year-old Griselda Gallardo at this Papa John's near 31st and Garnett, where she worked. Police say he then fled to the Grace Fellowship Church into a wooded area behind that church near 101st and Garnett. Police say they tracked him there after he apparently told someone his location. Neighbors watched as police searched the woods behind their homes looking for Silvey, who they believed was armed and dangerous. Police called off the search at nightfall, so neighbors say they spent last night worrying about their own safety. But this morning, they only felt one thing when they heard police found the suspect's body.
Relief that it's taken care of. Very sad, the whole situation. Just very sad knowing the lives that were lost and all the people affected from something like this.
Police say they're still looking into a motive, but they believe right now Joshua Silvey killed Griselda Gallardo after he tried to have a relationship with her, but she was not interested. Tonight on 2 News at 6, hear from Griselda's pastor about how her family is doing right now. Reporting live in East Tulsa, Will Dupree, 2 News works for you.
All right, Will, thanks. And you heard Will touch on this in the story, but we're going to find out more about the relationship between these two people. 2 News reporter Joe Hinkey's been looking into that for us this evening. He joins us now with more on that. Joe?
We'll just talk with a domestic violence specialist, and she tells me the interactions between the victim and suspect that Tulsa police and family describe share characteristics with stalking. Joshua Silkey is suspected of walking into the Papa John's near 31st and Garnett yesterday afternoon and shooting Griselda Gallardo. A Tulsa police spokeswoman tells me Silkey visited the Papa John's before looking to talk to the victim, and her family says seeking a romantic relationship. But the victim refused to talk to him and tried to let Silkey know she did not want a relationship. Domestic violence specialists tell me it appears the victim here by herself tried to let Silkey know she was not interested, but often in stalking cases, that is not enough.
I think when someone, feels fearful and is, getting unwanted attention from somebody after a decent effort, that's probably a time to try to get some additional assistance.
Now, the specialists there sharing with me data from the Journal of Forensic Sciences. I found out weapons are used to harm or threaten victims in 1 out of 5 cases of stalking. So if Silkey did pursue the victim to the point of stalking and then shot her, the ending to this story would be a rare situation. And specialists at Divis also telling me this afternoon, while the ending to this story is very sad and tragic, they've unfortunately seen similar situations play out in the past. They also recommend, if you find yourself in a situation like this, seek out a protective order against the individual you believe is stalking you, or ask friends and coworkers and family around you for help. So hopefully you can get out safe. Reporting in East Tulsa, Joe Hankey, 2 News works for you.
All right, 2 News working for you. A traffic alert here. 6 accidents around the city. For the most part, traffic moving along at a fairly good clip. Most of these accidents are on side streets. For instance, that one at Admiral Place at Sheridan. Here's one at Sheridan Road at 32nd Street and one on the south side of town, Yale, at 45th. Otherwise, your normal slowdowns, getting on and off ramps and trying to get onto those major highways as everyone makes their way home. All right, let's take a look at the forecast. We're going to start in Jenks. Beautiful sunshine out there this afternoon. In Bartlesville, also a very pleasant afternoon. In Henrietta, we had a couple of clouds popping up, but they have since departed the area. Temperature-wise, 81 in Bartlesville, 82 at Tulsa, 81 at Okemah right now. Look at Tahlequah, 73 degrees, a little bit cooler over there. A couple of showers just popped up in southern Adair County, but now they've moved over to the Arkansas side, and I think that's pretty much the show for tonight. Down to the southeast, there is a little bit of a chance for some showers to continue to form, but really I think it's going to be very close to the Arkansas border, if not on the Arkansas side of the state line. Our forecast for this evening, 7 p.m., beautiful, 79 degrees, rain far south and east at 9 p.m., 74 degrees. The rest of us are dry. We're warm, and the air is still at 11 p.m., around 70 at that time. Coming up, hot tomorrow, and then big changes for the second half of the week involving some tropical moisture. We'll talk about it in your certified most accurate forecast in a few minutes.
All right, the latest now on the Ebola outbreak. A decontamination crew has finished its work at a Dallas apartment where a patient stayed before he was hospitalized. The hazardous material crews removed about 140 barrels of stuff, including sheets, towels, 3 mattresses used by Thomas Eric Duncan. Duncan's now being treated with an experimental drug. His condition, though, was downgraded to critical over the weekend. Today, the hospital says he is stable. Dallas's mayor says the people who were exposed to Duncan are doing well as of now.
The great news for me is, remember, we take these temperatures every 2 times every day, and we've got 0 symptoms, okay, out there. 0. And that is a good sign.
Continuing coverage now of the Ebola outbreak coming up next on NBC Nightly News. Now to another medical issue. This one is called Stone Man's Syndrome, and a 7-year-old boy in Claremore has been diagnosed with this. Bone basically grows where your muscles are. It creates a second skeleton that will encapsulate the first. The family and both the community of Claremore are doing everything they can to raise hope and awareness about this issue. It seemed the entire town of Claremore turned out for this event. There was barbecue. The high school band was there. There was a 5K run. But the star of the show was a 7-year-old boy named Zip Elliott Gordon.
What do you think about all this today?
That means we can just start
Fun.
Zip is like many 7-year-olds. He wants to run and play. You may have noticed he already has some limited mobility. He has a genetic condition called FOP.
FOP is a condition that turns muscle, connective tissue, and joints to bone. So he will eventually create a second skeleton.
With a second skeleton, it's like his body will turn to stone. There are only 800 cases worldwide. 3 years ago, Zip learned he's one of them.
Not until he was 4, and then there was swelling that went from his neck all the way down his torso, and that he lost most of his mobility then.
While it is a heartbreaking diagnosis, it's one this Claremore family is dealing with as best they can.
Yeah, it was given to us, and obviously today our community's come out to support us, so I think hopefully we'll make a difference in the FOP community and the Claremore community and be able to help the doctors find a cure.
As for Zip, he just takes everything one day at a time.
So he just wants to have fun, don't you? Without mom yelling, don't run, don't run, don't run. Yeah.
And they raised more than $140,000 this weekend. All right, you are looking live at the Tulsa County Courthouse, the first legal same-sex marriage taking place in Tulsa County as it became the law of Oklahoma today. The ban was lifted. Right now, that first marriage is getting ready to take place. 2 women who have fought for same-sex marriage for the last 10 years are today about to exchange their vows on the steps of the Tulsa County Courthouse. Let's listen in for just a moment.
Pearls from the family. They're wearing their mother's pearls. And they are standing on the steps of the Tulsa County Courthouse in Oklahoma!
As we said earlier today, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear a case in Oklahoma about same-sex marriage. That allowed the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals to lift the ban. Basically now, same-sex couples can come down to the courthouse, they can file, and they can get married. And this is the first one that has ever happened in Tulsa County legally, and that's what's happening right now. We are going to continue to follow this as this ceremony continues to take place, and we'll have much more from the steps of the Tulsa County Courthouse coming up later in the show. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
And today